Still walking through the hood with the old man. OG.
Houston goons went at J. Prince over his son's role in Takeoff's murder. The streets have been loud, and the Prince family name is back in the middle of the Takeoff case. Here's what really happened. The Houston streets turn on the Princes. It didn't start with a warning. It didn't start with a conversation. It started with whispers, then threats, and then suddenly Houston was on fire. Because behind the polished interviews, behind the carefully crafted statements, behind the so-called respect that surrounded one of the most powerful families in hip-hop, something darker was brewing. Something people were too scared to say out loud until now. Because what you're about to hear isn't the version you've been fed. This is the version they didn't want to go viral. And the most disturbing part, it all traces back to one name, J. Prince, and one tragedy that the world still hasn't fully processed, the death of Takeoff. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. On November 1st, 2022, Takeoff was shot and killed outside 810 Billiards and Bowling in downtown Houston. He was 28 years old. He was in Houston with his uncle Quavo for a private party connected to the Prince family. The party was hosted at a venue tied to J. Prince Jr., son of James Prince, the founder of Rap-A-Lot Records. Over 30 people were in the room that night. The gathering started as a celebration. It ended with Takeoff on the ground, struck by a stray bullet during a dice game dispute.
Nothing should have happened. What do you say to that?
What I would say to that is, I have a track record. Prince family have a track record of 30 plus years of, honoring and loving on, I guess.
That is J. Prince Sr. speaking on the night Takeoff died. He framed it as an attack on his hospitality, not the fault of his family. Since that night, the streets of Houston and the wider rap world have not moved on. Street voices, podcast hosts, and YouTube commentators have kept the Prince family in their mouths. The name Houston Goons gets thrown around in these conversations as a label for local street figures who have questioned the Prince family's role that night. In February 2023, 3 months after Takeoff's death, J. Prince Sr., J. Prince Jr., and Mike Prince sat down with Gilly the Kid and Wallow on $1 million worth of game. The family laid out their version of the night. They blamed a Migos associate named Willie Bland, also known as Migo Bands, for starting the physical altercation. They brought paperwork to the interview. They said Migo Bands was cooperating with police.
Check it out now. Holy. Now, the Mob Ties press tour has started, people, okay? If you guys don't know, you had the Prince family, pretty much J. Prince Jr., J. Prince himself, and Mike Prince. They appeared $1 million worth of game where basically J. Prince pretty much gave it raw, okay? He said, yo, this would have not happened if Quavo's homie didn't literally jump the gun.
Kyle Marksman broke down what the Prince family said on that podcast. The message was clear. The Princes were pointing a finger at Quavo's own circle. They said the homie who came with Quavo pulled out a weapon first. They said Takeoff would still be alive if that had not happened. Boozy also weighed in on the interview. He said he only watched the clips. He said he did not like to see an OG speak that way on an open case.
I didn't watch the whole interview. Because I don't really like to see OG talking like that.
That reaction from Boozy set the tone for how the streets took the interview. Many thought the Prince family said too much. Others thought the family had the right to defend their name. Either way, the conversation around Takeoff's death shifted from grief to finger-pointing. Then came the April 2026 incident at Confessions Restaurant in Upper Kirby, Houston. A birthday dinner turned into a shooting. NBA, Youngboy affiliate Ben 10 and another man were shot. Detroit rapper All-Star Jr. was identified as the shooter, acting in what he said was self-defense. J. Prince Jr. was in the building that night. Videos spread across social media. YouTube titles called it Houston Goons versus 4KT. Street commentators tied the event back to the Takeoff party in 2022. The narrative being pushed online was simple. J. Prince Jr. was present at another event where people got shot. His father's name got dragged in because of it. Then on April 15th, 2026, a video surfaced on X. The post was shared by My Mixtape Hez with over 2.2 million views. In the video, J. Prince Sr. walks through a Houston hood at night alongside Alabama rapper Honeycomb Brazy and a small group of men. Brazy films and narrates. He calls it a walk through the trenches.
Still walking through the hood with the old man. OG. Good. We still walk through the hood, man. Everybody can't do this.
The timing of the video raised eyebrows. It came days after the Confession shooting and weeks after Clark's new legal team was announced. To some, it looked like a statement. The streets had been talking. The son's name had been in the headlines. And now the father was walking through the hood at night with cameras rolling. Breaking down what happened to Takeoff. To understand why people keep bringing up the Prince family name in connection with Takeoff's death, you have to walk through the night itself. The events at 810 Billiards and Bowling on November 1st, 2022 are the foundation of every rumor, every accusation, and every street conversation that has followed. Takeoff, born Kershnik Karibal, was the quiet one in Migos. He was the youngest of the trio, Quavo's nephew, and widely considered the most musically gifted of the three. By the fall of 2022, Migos had effectively disbanded because of internal tension. Takeoff and Quavo had leaned into working as a duo. They released their joint album Only Built for Infinity Links in October 2022. Just hours before he was killed, they dropped a new single called Messy. Takeoff was 28. He had no street beefs. He was not known for drama. Takeoff was in Houston with Quavo for a private gathering at the bowling alley. The venue sits at 1210 San Jacinto Street in downtown Houston. According to police affidavits released in December 2022, the party had over 30 people in attendance. The early parts of the night were described as calm. There was smoking, there was basketball talk, there was a sense of a celebration among close associates. Things shifted around 2:40 a.m. A dice game broke out on the third floor area of the venue. The affidavit described it as a lucrative game. Real money was on the table. Quavo joined the game at some point and, according to accounts from witnesses, lost a significant amount of cash. That is where the argument started. The dispute was not between Takeoff and anyone else. Takeoff was not playing dice. He was standing nearby. The official sequence, according to court documents, unfolded like this. Quavo got into a verbal exchange with several people in the game. Names that came up included Cameron Joshua, Christopher Watkins, and Willie Bland, also known as Migo Bands, an associate who traveled with the Migos camp. At some point, someone was believed to have reached for a gun. Quavo threw a punch at Cameron Joshua. Willie Bland shoved Christopher Watkins. The tension jumped from loud to physical in seconds. Quavo then turned to walk away. That is when the gunfire started. Shots came from at least 2 weapons. Shell casings were later recovered from the first floor of the venue. Takeoff, standing as a bystander with no involvement in the argument, was struck by stray bullets. He collapsed immediately. Chaos followed. People scattered. Videos captured during the aftermath showed people moving near Takeoff's body in the panic. One of those videos became a central piece of the controversy that would follow. In it, figures were seen stepping near or around the fallen rapper. That footage would later be used by street commentators to question who cared about Takeoff and who did not. J. Prince Jr. and Mike Prince were both inside the venue at the time. In their $1 million worth of game interview, the brothers gave their account of where they were when the shooting started. J. Prince Jr. said he was inside paying the bill when he heard the shots. Mike Prince said he moved toward the wounded after hearing gunfire. The family said they stayed with Quavo for hours after the shooting. 2 other people were wounded that night and taken to the hospital. Takeoff was pronounced dead at the scene. Houston police responded fast. Surveillance footage was pulled from the venue. Fingerprints were taken from objects left behind. Phone records were requested. Vehicle information was cross-referenced. Within a month, the investigation had a suspect. That suspect was Patrick Xavier Clark, known as DJ Pat. He was 33 at the time of the shooting. Video showed him holding a wine bottle in one hand and firing a weapon with the other toward the group where Takeoff stood. Fingerprints on the wine bottle matched. His phone data placed him at the scene. A vehicle tied to him was spotted leaving the area. Clark was arrested on December 2nd, 2022. He was charged with murder under Texas law on the basis of deadly conduct. A grand jury returned a formal indictment in May 2023. He pleaded not guilty. Cameron Joshua, the other man in the dice game argument, was also arrested. He was charged with being a felon in possession of a weapon. Prosecutors made clear early on that he was not the shooter who killed Takeoff. His case was dismissed in December 2023. No one in the Prince family has been charged in connection with Takeoff's death. No charges, no arrest warrants, no indictments. The only person who has been formally charged with pulling the trigger that killed Takeoff is Patrick Xavier Clark. That is the factual core of the story. Everything after that is narrative, opinion, and rumor. Who was really in the dice game and who walked away? The real weight of this story sits in the people who were around Takeoff when he died. Each name that comes up carries its own baggage, its own theories, and its own role in the rumor mill that has grown over the past 3.5 years. The Prince family has spent that time trying to direct attention away from themselves and toward one man in particular. That man is Willie Bland. He goes by Migo Bands on the streets. According to the Prince family, he is the reason Takeoff died. In their $1 million worth of game interview, the family laid it out directly. They said Migo Bands was the one who escalated the physical part of the dispute. They said he shoved one of the men at the dice game. They said he pulled the metaphorical trigger on the entire situation before a single bullet was fired.
Check it out now. Holy! If you guys don't know, you had the Prince family, pretty much J. Prince Jr., J. Prince himself, and Mike Prince. They appeared in $1 million worth of game where basically J. Prince pretty much gave it raw.
The commentary on Kyle Marksman's video broke it down further. The Prince family was essentially making the case that their family did nothing wrong. They brought paperwork with them. That paperwork, they claimed, was police documentation identifying Migo Bands as someone who had spoken to authorities.
According to J Prince, basically, Willie Bland, okay, aka Migo Bands, is a snitch. Okay, that's what he's saying. He said he's snitching on the Prince family and he ran back to Atlanta for protection.
The accusation was serious. Calling someone a snitch in hip-hop culture is a declaration. It can follow a person for the rest of their career. The Prince family chose to make that call on camera, on a major podcast, with paperwork in hand. This is where the narrative splits. Some listeners heard the Prince family and thought they were telling the truth. They had documents, they had names, they had a consistent story. Others heard the same interview and pushed back on what they saw as a strange move for someone like J Prince Sr. Boosie was one of those voices.
I mean, the one thing that kind of surprises me, because I know people that are close to J Prince, and they all say that this is like one of the smartest dudes they know. Like, J Prince thinks of his 3-4 steps ahead.
Boosie pointed out what many were thinking. J Prince had a track record of never getting pulled into drama. He moved quietly. He played chess while others played checkers. For him to sit on camera and discuss an open murder case was off pattern.
This is still an open murder case,
Yeah.
right? Which to me, knowing J Prince's history, is like, oh, I'm surprised he even was gonna say anything about this.
Then Boosie raised another point. He said he did not even understand why it was a surprise that a security person spoke to police.
He brought up that Migo Bands was cooperating with the police. I think he even brought out the paperwork. That was like the security dude with the short dreads. You know what I'm talking about?
You watch this interview, he brought out the paperwork.
Brought out the paperwork. But that was security. And honestly, I'm like, why would that surprise anybody? Like, why would you be surprised that the person that was hired to protect the people there after a shooting and a murder occurs, why would you be surprised that that person cooperates?
Boosie made it clear he was not picking a side. He said he had love for both camps. He said it was a lose-lose.
It's a lose-lose for both situations.
Right, because it set off a whole bunch of back and forth.
The interview also triggered another problem. Offset, Takeoff's cousin and former Migos member, took it personally. Part of what J Prince said on the podcast touched on Offset directly. Prince suggested Offset was not as close to Takeoff as he let on. That set off a public back and forth that spilled onto social media. J Prince went on Instagram after the podcast dropped. In a video that ran across the hip-hop blog circuit, he addressed Offset head-on.
But this Offset dude, I ain't gonna leave him out. You know, I'm just real like this because, you know, be throwing rocks and hiding their hand, right? They be throwing rocks and hiding their hand. I don't like them kind of individuals, you know, and the truth of the matter is, you know, one can dance and different things in front of these different cameras. You wasn't really right there with Takeoff when he was alive, you know what I mean? So for you to be taking these positions that you taking, don't never put me in no position where, you know, I have to defend myself. You know what I mean? That wouldn't be healthy for you.
That was the sharpest the Takeoff adjacent drama has ever gotten between two public figures on the outside of the case. Offset responded. The internet had a field day, but the core issue remained unsolved. Takeoff was gone. His killer had not been convicted, and the streets kept talking. J Prince Jr. and the Confessions restaurant shooting. By the time 2026 rolled around, the Takeoff case was still unresolved. Patrick Clark's trial had been set for November 2026. The Prince family had moved on publicly. They kept their businesses running. They kept their names out of any fresh drama for the most part. Then came April 2026. On or around April 8, 2026, a gathering took place at Confessions restaurant in the Upper Kirby area of Houston. Upper Kirby is an upscale neighborhood. Confessions had become a popular spot for birthday dinners and late-night gatherings in the Houston entertainment world. That night, the restaurant was hosting a birthday celebration connected to a man referred to online as OG3. J Prince Jr. was in attendance. That much is confirmed by his own statements and by multiple videos that circulated on social media after the incident. At some point during the night, an altercation broke out. The details are still being pieced together in real time, but the basic framework is this. A group that included NBA Youngboy affiliate Ben 10 and another man, referred to as Dead End Ron in some coverage, was at the restaurant. So was Detroit rapper All-Star All-Star Jr., who is connected to T Grizzly's circle. What happened next is disputed. The version that spread across YouTube and Instagram went like this. A group allegedly attempted to approach All-Star Jr. to try to take his chain. The situation escalated into a physical confrontation. Gunfire broke out. Ben 10 and Dead and Ron were struck multiple times. All-Star Jr. was identified as the one who fired back. Ben 10 was critically injured. That is the point where the narrative splits again. Some voices online said the ones who came to the restaurant with bad intentions were the ones connected to J Prince Jr. Others said Ben 10's group was the aggressor. Videos from inside and outside the restaurant circulated, but none of them showed the full sequence of events from start to finish. Finesse 2 times addressed the situation in a long live stream.
Man, what the is going on, man? Chat, what the man, I woke up to all kind of crazy going on. What happened now, man? Tell Big Father what happened, man. What the you think was gonna happen if a pull up and try to take my chain? Oh my God, y'all got way too much going on, bro. Y'all got way too much.
Finesse 2 times came off as frustrated with the whole situation. He talked about wanting to step back from the industry noise. He talked about already having done his time, already been to jail, already having proven what he needed to prove.
I already went down through that phase in my life. I already been a G. I already been to jail. 10 got shot. I'm glad to hear you all right, man. I'm glad to hear, man. I first heard that shit. Me up.
Finesse also said he did not personally know the people involved. He said he hated to see it because of the broader picture of young black men fighting each other.
I don't even know that young. I just know I hate to see that. Cause we black and we got potential. I f that young persona. You know what I'm saying? I don't know him to not like him. You know what I'm saying? But so far, so good in my eyes.
Finesse's take was that all of this was avoidable. He framed the incident as something tied to energy and what you put out in the world.
I believe in the law of attraction. What you give is what you get. If I set out every day to hurt somebody, I might eventually hurt them. I'm not looking for trouble. Oh, but if I bump into trouble, oh man, we're gonna crash.
J Prince Jr. responded to the wave of online speculation with his own Instagram statement. He said he was at the restaurant alone. He said the gathering was organic, not a setup. He said he did not know All-Star Jr. personally and had never sent anyone to attack him. He said he would never hurt a young person, referencing All-Star Jr.'s youth. No Prince family member has been charged in connection with the Confessions restaurant shooting. The Houston Police Department is investigating it as a combination of robbery attempt and mutual combat, based on the reporting available. No full arrest roster has been made public as of mid-April 2026. Beyond the Confessions incident, the Prince family had another piece of news cycle attention. In March 2026, it was reported that Patrick Clark had hired new attorneys. The new team included Kent Schaffer, Anthony Osso, and Dan Cogdell. All three had previously represented J Prince Sr. on various legal matters over the years. The internet took that news and ran with it. Conspiracy theories spread about what the connection meant. Some said it proved the Prince family had influence over the case. Others said it was standard practice. Lawyers change clients in Houston all the time. High-profile attorneys serve high-profile clients. The overlap was not unusual in a city the size of Houston. Still, the combination of the Confessions shooting and the legal team news created a perfect storm for YouTube titles. The phrase, "Houston Goons Attack J Prince," started appearing in thumbnails and video descriptions. The narrative being sold was simple. His son was at 2 events connected to violence. The streets were finally coming for him. Payback was on the way. The facts on the ground did not match that narrative. No physical assault on J Prince Sr. has been reported by Houston police. No ambush, no shooting, no beating. The word attack was being used in the way that YouTube commentators use it to describe a wave of criticism, street talk, and online backlash, not a literal physical confrontation. That brings us to the walk through the hoods. What the video really showed and the final verdict. On April 15th, 2026, the My Mixtapez X account posted a 12-second clip. The clip went viral fast. Within 24 hours, it had over 2.2 million views, more than 3,500 likes, and hundreds of replies and quote posts. The caption read that J Prince was outside at 61, walking through the hoods in Houston. The video itself was filmed in split-screen style. On one side, a still photo of J Prince Sr. in a white suit giving a thumbs up. On the other side, shaky handheld footage of Prince walking down a Houston Street at night. Alabama rapper Honeycomb Brazy was the one filming. A small group of men walked alongside them.
Still walking through the hood with the old man. OG.
Oh, good.
We still walk through the hood, man. Everybody can't do this.
Overlay text on the video read that Prince and his circle were still walking through the hood and that they were good. It was a statement of presence, a statement of safety, a statement of influence. Some of the visuals in the background added layers to what Brazy was trying to say. Men stood outside in casual clothing. A person was visible in a wheelchair. Bikes leaned against walls. The streetlights cast the scene in that familiar warm glow. It was not a stage set. It was a real Houston neighborhood, filmed on a real night. The reaction to the video broke across clear lines. Supporters called it a show of respect. They said it proved Prince still had the love of the streets. They said anyone else at his wealth level would be surrounded by security in a bulletproof vehicle, not walking through the hood with a rapper filming him on a phone. They pointed to Honeycomb Brazy's presence as a signal that Prince had real street protection, not hired guards. Critics saw it differently. They called the video corny. They called it clout chasing. They said a 61-year-old multimillionaire had no business walking through any hood at night. They said it glorified the same street culture Prince had built his empire to escape from. They said it was a performance, not a reality. Some of the replies tied the video directly to the confession shooting and the Takeoff case. They framed it as a message to the streets. They said Prince was showing his son's critics that the family was not shaken. They said it was a public rebuttal to every YouTube title claiming the Prince family was under attack. And that brings the full story into focus. What has happened is an ongoing wave of online criticism and street-level commentary. YouTube gossip channels, podcast hosts, and ex-users have spent years discussing the Prince family's proximity to Takeoff's death. That commentary got louder after the Confessions restaurant shooting in April 2026. It got louder again when Patrick Clark's new legal team was revealed to include attorneys with ties to J. Prince Sr. The phrase Houston Goons, in the context of this story, is best understood as a label for that wave of online and street-level voices. Some of those voices come from Houston, some come from other cities, some come from known rap commentators, others come from anonymous accounts. None of them have carried out a physical attack on the Prince family. As for J. Prince Jr.'s involvement in Takeoff's murder, the facts are clear on that too. He has never been charged with any crime connected to the shooting. He has never been named as a suspect. He has never been identified by police as having fired a weapon that night. His role, as documented by police affidavits and court filings, was as a host of the gathering where the dice game took place. That is it. No charges, no indictment, no arrest. Patrick Xavier Clark is still the only person charged with murder in the Takeoff case. His trial is set for November 9th, 2026, with jury selection beginning November 5th. Cameron Joshua's weapons case was dismissed in December 2023. No one else has been charged. So the answer to the question in the title is that there has been no physical attack on J. Prince from Houston Goons over his son's role in Takeoff's murder. What there has been is an ongoing conversation, debate, and criticism. The walk through the hood was Prince's response to that criticism. Not a response to an ambush, not a response to a bullet, a response to noise. The deeper story is one of perception. The Prince family has built an empire in Houston. That empire has invited scrutiny for decades. Every event that happens within their orbit gets examined through the lens of their reputation. When Takeoff died at a party connected to their name, that reputation got tested. When the Confessions shooting happened, it got tested again. And when J. Prince Sr. walked down that street with a camera rolling, he was making a choice about how to manage that reputation moving forward. That is the real story behind the headlines.